Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are in a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. Bruce, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm fine. You put me in a mood, man. You're all down. You're grumpy. You're sending me sad faces across the universe of the Skype area thing here, and now I'm sad. Now I'm sad. People don't want to listen to sad Connie. Well, they want to listen to, hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. Hey, Bruce, how the hell are you doing? All right, guys, it's a beautiful day here in Huntsville, Alabama. Let me tell you about the sun shining through. I can barely see my eyes for the rays of the sun.
Well, we're talking about one of the bright spots of WWE today, one of the founding members of TNA. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Trish Stratus. This is the episode that we've been trying to do for a long, long time, Bruce. And I'm excited. Oh, so very excited. It's finally here. It's Trish. I'm going to need your help on this part, though. Patricia and, am I saying this right? Strategius. Born on December 18th, 1975 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. A lot of great wrestling talent has come through WWE from Canada. I think it's something in the water up there. What's going on up there? How do they keep making
so damn cold? What else are they going to do? Okay. You know, this is the second week in a row that you've made me diss Canada, and I love Canada. And you look at some of the greatest wrestlers that have ever stepped foot in a wrestling ring anywhere in the world come from Canada.
No doubt about it. I think Trish is a longtime wrestling fan. She grew up loving Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. Who didn't? And the first mention of Trish in wrestling folklore, I believe, is in an interview she had with Off the Record with Michael Landsberg in January of 99. Meltzer would recap this in the Observer back then, that she was a fitness model, but she was interviewed about joining the WWF as a valet. How and when did Trish first get on the WWE's radar?
Well, in a couple different ways. She was a fitness model. And some of the guys that would do the fitness shows would always come back and go, hey, there's this girl. She really wants to be a wrestler. She's looking to train. Great look. Maybe you'd be interested in her. I remember Billy Gunn bringing her card to me, Ron Simmons bringing her card to me, and then Carl DeMarco, Carl DeMarco was the guy that ran Canada for us. Carl came in one day and says, hey, Trish Stratus came in, and here she is. So it was on 3 or 4 different fronts that we had recommendations for Trish. So thought, well, shit, let's give it a try. She's a beautiful young lady. Let's see what she's got. Obviously very athletic, and without a doubt had a passion for the business without ever, being one day in it. She was convinced that that's what she wanted to do.
I think it's cool when people have success in other areas of their life, but their passion is wrestling and they come over. Was this a long recruitment, or was she just itching to get the opportunity?
I think it was a longer recruitment to get us on board more than anything.
Well, what was the hesitation? I mean, Vince for years and years has loved, this look, right?
No, it just was the fact that we weren't really equipped, so we thought, for training
from scratch. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, Tom had some folks in the studio, and Trish was in Canada, but there's a guy by the name of Ron Etchison in Canada, or Ron Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Is his name. Ronnie Etchison is.
Hutchinson listens to this show, by the way.
I know.
Okay, sorry. I mean,
I love Ron Hutchinson.
You would think since you know so goddamn much, you'd know how to pronounce his fucking name.
No, I wasn't pronouncing his name. I misspoke, Conrad. And there's a fucking guy named Ronnie Etchison that used to work the fucking territories.
You got to get hot about it.
I made a goddamn honest mistake.
You don't have to get hot about it.
I misspoke. I apologize, because I would never disparage Mr. Hutchinson's fine work. I think he's actually one of the best trainers of talent. He trained Edge, he trained Christian, so I think that his credentials speak for himself. And on top of that, he's a wonderful human being.
You made up for mispronouncing his name.
I didn't mispronounce his fucking name. It's another person.
Hey,
just in my head, I saw the other person for a minute. Look it up, Ronnie Etchison.
Okay, Tom, you don't have to get upset about it.
You're not looking it up.
No, I'm typing with my finger meats right now. Hey, let me ask you.
Yeah.
The rumor is.
Why you call me Tom?
No, I didn't call you the wrong name.
Yeah,
I just confused you with another guy. I know a Tom Prichard too.
Oh, okay.
And I was just confusing you.
Well, see, that would have been a different last name. You would have gone with Bruce Swayze or somebody like that.
I don't know a Bruce Swayze, but I know a Tom Prichard. I'll get him on the phone if you want.
Okay, good.
The rumor and innuendo is that Trish was also talking to WCW. Did you hear that?
No, I never heard that. I'm sure that's the same people that went to the fitness shows from WCW probably were interested in Trish as well. And that she probably went to them looking for any way to get into the business. So that wouldn't surprise me at all, but I never heard that.
I know, we're going to talk about how Trish is going to become one of the bona fide WWE Hall of Fame in-ring performers, but she comes in as a valet at first. Was that always the plan? Because you sort of, I don't know, hinted around that maybe the hesitation or the hold up in the recruitment period was you weren't sure how to train her. But from a valet standpoint, that's a lot easier deal to train than an in-ring performer.
It was also a way to get her into the mix. Because in order to train her, if we wanted to bring her over to the States to train her, you would have to go through the green card issues and immigration and what have you. To bring her in as a performer and to bring her in as a valet, that got her into the system and got her going a lot faster. And the deal was that we would introduce her this way and she would train, and she did train with Ron Hutchinson, not to be confused with Ronnie Etchison. And that's how she learned how to work. She learned how it was on the job training.
Here's a write-up from December of 99. Fitness model Trish Stratus, who was backstage at WCW's Mayhem pay-per-view and worked on the Law Wrestling radio/internet show, has been signed to a 3-year developmental deal with the idea that she'd be an in-ring wrestler with the proviso that no nudity is involved.
Proviso. I helped you out with strategy as this proviso.
Tomato, Tom, Bruce. Stratus has been training for about 6 weeks in Toronto with Ron Etchison, but has been interested in doing wrestling for a lot longer than that. I'm fascinated by this no nudity clause. Had she seen where you girl? I mean, I don't understand that. Talk me through that.
Well, is that something that she did with WCW? Yeah. So she's at WCW's pay-per-view and had signed. Or is that by the time she had signed with us?
She signed with you. She never. I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. You really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast. We make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket. So what are you waiting for? Hurry to SaveWithConrad.com.
Yeah, because it's from Dave Meltzer, so it's probably factually
Bruce,
incorrect.
was this about Playboy or because y'all were like asking Miss Jackie to take her top off and you had Miss
No,
Kitty
and
taking her top off? Or
Yeah, and I doubt there was a no nudity clause. She probably said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do Playboy or something like that. But
who would have helped push Trish to go train with Ron? I think you called him Etchinson. Would that have been somebody?
Hutchinson is his name, damn it.
I know that. He listens to the show.
Yeah.
But I'm just, you called him that, so I'm just going to lean into that. Chat
No,
me.
I misspoke.
Sure, I get it, Tom. So tell me though, does she find Ron on her own, or is it people in Toronto who are directing her, or
I'm
do you
sure
guys?
people in Toronto.
Was it your recommendation? As far as you know, it wasn't WWE influence that centered Ron. That's what I'm trying to pin down.
Probably was because Ronnie was local in Toronto and in trained Edge and Christian and had a good reputation.
Are you getting updates from Ron? I mean, not you personally, but is he sort of calling in like we would hear later in developmental from OVW that there would be reports coming back and forth about how folks are progressing? Do you get anything like that for Trish?
No, Ronnie didn't work for us.
Do you remember how the whole plan came together with putting her with Test and Albert? The rumor and innuendo is that she was pitched, or at least one of the ideas from creative was, what if she was a porn star? And what if she was paired with Val Venus?
Never heard that.
So how did the whole thing with Test and Albert come together?
It was Test, first of all, from the Canadian connection and that they were both from the same place. It felt like, okay. And then with Albert, Test and Albert were a team. Just thought that, God, give them some panache, give them a beautiful woman to come out with them and have people look at them. So it was a pretty handsome pair, I think, when you look at it.
She debuts on Sunday Night Heat, March 19th, 2000. She's going to start scouting Test and Albert during their matches. And the next night on Monday Night Raw, TNA is formed. Quote, Stratus announced her new TNA team. Her delivery of the interview all of a sudden made such lucid talkers as Sable, BB, and Terry look like The Rock. Her lines she was giving were lame to begin with, but even with fair warning, no words can describe how bad her performance was. Of course, that's Meltzer's opinion, man. Chat me up though. Do you think she was just nervous? I mean, that's understandable, right? If you've been a big fan of this and now you're under the bright lights, it's live TV, probably a sold out crowd. It's a lot of pressure for a newcomer.
Sure it is. I don't care who you are. If it's the first time that you're doing it, you're on worldwide television, global television, and you're given a microphone. So all the things that you have in your mind and your head is exactly how you're going to do it. No matter how many times that you've rehearsed it in front of the mirror. Now it's real life, kid. You're on, pal. We're live. So yeah, I'm sure there were a lot of bugs. It wasn't the greatest promo in the whole wide world. But she was green. They all were.
When they come back through the curtain, is Vince trying or someone there trying to encourage them? Because they know when it was a stinker, right? And you don't want somebody who you have a lot of hope for to get too discouraged too quickly, right?
Yeah, it's totally a encouragement thing and trying to help them get better, telling them what they did right and what they did wrong, and just encourage them, tell them what to do the next time that they're out there. It's called teaching.
Her pay-per-view debut is WrestleMania 2000. She's going to manage Test and Albert against the team of Head Cheese. Of course, that's Al Snow and Steve Blackman. Bruce, what's your favorite Head Cheese match?
Yeah. You know what? Al Snow and Blackman was quite the team. They really and truly were. Because when you go back and you look at it, Al's a hell of a worker.
Yep.
And Steve was a hell of a... that's what you drove me to do. Steve was a hell of a talent as well, but just didn't have as much charisma. Al had all the charisma, and together they were kind of a odd couple that worked well together as a team. And I have to say that my favorite match with them would have to be against, let me think if I can remember the team's name. TNA.
That's
called going around the A to get to the T.
You just opened 2 cans inside of 12 minutes. They're different cans, Steve. What was the first can?
That's your business.
Well, it's a shiny can.
It
compared
is.
to the Diet Coke can, which was the second one. What is the first can?
That one.
Oh, wait a minute. You drank a Diet Pepsi, then a Diet Coke?
I don't offend anybody. I drink everything.
How did you do that?
Learn my lessons.
I don't understand how that comes to be. I thought people usually were either a Diet Coke person or a Diet Pepsi person. I've heard of going to a restaurant, ordering one thing. They say, sorry, we don't have that. We have this. Is that okay? Your family buys both Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke, and you drink them back to back.
Yep.
That explains a lot of, yeah.
That please everybody, man.
Or no
I'm
one.
a pleaser. It's what I do, Connie.
Who have you pleased recently?
You.
In what regard?
I was relatively on time today.
That's relatively true.
Okay.
That's my favorite thing is you say on time.
Does that make you happy?
Does
that make you smile and be happy? Oh, you want the French fry? Eat the French fry. Come on, I know you did the book.
It tickles me that you pick the time and you pick the days and you're still late, but then you're like, I bet I made you happy since I was less late. It's like the Michael P.S. Hayes thing of, hey, if you're going to be late to a show, but don't be 10 minutes late, be 2 hours late. So they're just glad you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, you know that I know what was going through your head as soon as you read the first line of my text.
Well, I got a text 20 minutes before we were supposed to record. I didn't even read the rest. I was like, he'll call me later. I don't even want to read it. I know the deal.
Oh, that hurts.
Well,
but if you had read it, you would have understood.
Yeah, but there's a line in there about injuries. Like there's an injured reserve at your house. What happened is you stubbed your toe making an omelet this morning or something. That's what it was.
No. I got Vinny here to do that now. You actually didn't even do it. They went out and got me stuff.
Do you want to let the audience know who Vinny is?
No. Amber told me not to talk about her on the show. No, she told me to talk about her on the show, but I'm not going to talk about her because I don't do that.
What does young Vinny do? Oh. You know, I just realized something. My sister's hanging around with a guy named Vinny too.
Yeah.
How do we both have Vinnies in our life in the same calendar month?
Kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah. Can I start referring to Amber's new boyfriend as my cousin Vinny?
No.
Okay. TNA begins a feud with the Dudleys, and it's going to lead to Trish's first big bump on TV. It's a power bomb through a table on the Backlash pay-per-view. Quote, she apparently has asked for Bubba to not protect her as obviously as he's done with the other women, so she'd take more of the bump, which he was a little reluctant to do, but agreed to do, as she wanted to get over as someone who can do her own stunts. So we're going to go from you're a valet and we're going to try to teach you the business and you're going to go train with Ron Etchinson. But oh, by the way, we're ready for you to get power bombed off the top rope.
Yeah, she was ready. She wanted to do it. That's what she wanted to do. Trish was looking to fast track as quickly as she could and prove to people that she's tough and she's not a girly girl.
What's the telltale sign for when you know someone's ready to get power bombed off the top rope?
Jesus Christ, Dixie Carter did it.
But how did you know Dixie's ready? You could just look at her.
I wasn't there, so I don't know. I don't think Dixie was ready, frankly.
She also takes a stink face from Rikishi during the summer. This is,
You're welcome.
You guys are putting her through the paces here.
Again, man, Trish was one of the boys. Trish fit in, I think, relatively quickly and was willing to do whatever it took to get the job done. She was a hard worker, man. She was like, didn't say no to anything. It was like, she looked at every opportunity as just that, an opportunity to grow and to do more. And she had a passion for the business, a love for the business that was contagious. It was, sometimes when you see someone that you hadn't seen in a long time and you go back, working with Trish, for at least for me, was always a pleasure because she had the attitude of, okay, great, yeah, let's do that. And or you had to pull her back more than anything because she would always want to do, what if we did this? What if we did that? So I appreciate that.
Talk to me a little bit about why you put her with Val Venus. A few months later, it feels like you're doing this because he's feuding with Eddie Guerrero and Eddie has China, and you just need to sort of level that up or even that up, even the sides up.
Yeah, the story fit that at the time. And we were also, again, I think from Trish's point of view, Trish wanted to be a worker. And Trish wanted to wrestle, and Trish wanted to be in the ring, not just a valet. So she was looking for any and every opportunity that she could to prove that she was worthy of that.
Talk to me about her in-ring debut. It's a SmackDown taping in Memphis. It's Test, Albert, and Trish against the Hardys and Lita. I mean, a 6-man is probably the right way to introduce anyone who's new to the ring, right?
Hey, it's a lot easier, yeah, when you're out there with a bunch of people that you trust and you have guys that know what the hell they're doing, then yeah. If you're green and it's your first time, be out there with as many experienced people as you possibly can.
We're going to go ahead and have Lita and Trish do a singles street fight match on Raw. It's going to end in 1 minute and 22 seconds when Lita hits her with the moonsault. And then she's going to take Trish's shirt off, and Steven Richards, as part of the RTC, is going to come out to cover her up. You probably want to keep her first match on TV short. And if you can add some gaga, like a street fight, maybe it makes it a little easier.
Well, again, you're not sure what you have.
Yeah.
And now you don't have all the dressing around it. So you want to protect the talent as much as you possibly can. And it wasn't beautiful, but it wasn't horrible either.
Of course, the ratings are going banana every time we have Lita and Trish on TV. So they get the main event of Raw. Rock's going to team with Lita to face Triple H and Trish, with Trish being pinned by Lita after the moonsault. And afterwards, Rock lays out Triple H, who lands in a 69 position with Trish. This is interesting way to go off the air, huh? Or close this scene.
Yeah, without a doubt.
The next TV
in the company.
The next TV is the infamous moment where Triple H is working with Trish backstage and Stephanie interrupts. Of course,
San Antonio, Texas.
You remember this scene? Tell me about it.
I remember this scene. I remember the whole thing, shooting it upstairs in Vince's office. As a matter of fact, there was a TV office, but it was upstairs on the second floor of the Joe and Harry Freeman Coliseum. And we just, the number of different things that you could do that you could get innocently caught on, just kept rolling out. And thank God I didn't produce it. But it was an awful lot of fun just trying to, getting to that point of the scene with Stephanie walking in on him and the reversing the hammerlock and shit like that. I thought that was great TV. It still works to this day.
For her to be in this main event mixed tag with Rock and Hunter, and then doing a backstage skit with Hunter and Stephanie, Vince sees money in Trish right away, doesn't he?
Yeah, because again, she continually, and when I say continually got better, she got better every day.
Right.
Every time that you gave her, she got better. It wasn't, you didn't have to tell her the same thing twice. She would improve upon it, and you would find other things and let her know, and she would improve upon those things every single week.
Eventually we see Trish and Val team up to take on Eddie and China at SummerSlam. The winner of the match is going to become the Intercontinental Champion. China actually pins Trish to win the belt, even though Val is the champion. Some pretty smart creative here is you don't beat Val, Eddie doesn't win it, and China becomes the Intercontinental Champ. Everybody wins, right?
Yeah, and it was unique because I don't think anybody saw. Well, I think people might have seen China winning, but I don't think anybody saw it happening that way. You know what I mean? I think they thought, "Oh, goddamn, they're going to have her pin Val Venus for the championship or what have you, or some other kind of gaga." And it was a clever way to get the championship on China and move forward.
And we should mention the result of this match is Val's going to dump Trish, because, you know, he feels like she cost him his Intercontinental title, but probably not the best decision he made in kayfabe. Let's keep it going here. Trish is going to hang around with TNA for the rest of the year, but she's probably outgrown the tag team by this point. Wouldn't you agree?
I think she was the team at that point.
Yeah. We get to, talk about another off the record interview. This Landsberg stuff, man, this was another thing back in the day that, you know, would make headlines. Chyna's going to bury Trish on an interview here when he says that she was hired just for her looks, which I guess is kind of interesting because I think you could argue that, well, so was Chyna. How much heat was on Chyna after this comment, and was there a problem between the two?
Well, I think from Chyna's point of view, she was doing this in a character, and it was, you know, ribbing on the square, if you will, and trying to be the character that she perceived people to see her as. And as you say, yeah, Chyna was brought in strictly on her look, and different look. Trish was brought in for her potential. Yes, definitely for her look, but also for her potential as an athlete and a fitness model that did have a following, hopefully bring that following into the business. And then she wanted to learn. She had a desire to learn and was getting better every single day. So it doesn't matter how they get in, it's how they stay in. And Trish stayed in and busted her ass to be as good as she was.
Next up, we're going to see, Trish break away from TNA. At this point, is this Trish asking for that? Is this just the way the cookie crumbles and that's the way the creative landed? What do you remember about how we break them up as a team?
Well, you listen to the audience. When the audience is cheering more for the person on the outside of the ring and they're reacting more to what they're doing than the people that they're managing or valeting for, that tells you something. And that told us that Trish, people wanted more Trish. So take her away from, at that point, I think that Test and Albert may have been an anchor around Trish's neck. And instead of her being able to fly, she was kind of anchored with them at that point. So you needed to remove that anchor.
Well, when we remove the anchor, we're going to put her with Vince McMahon. And, this is a decision that's been criticized by quote unquote smart fans over the years. Whose idea was this creative? What do you remember about it?
What year was this? 2001. This was, I'm going to say it was probably, on that Tommy Blancha, Brian Gewirtz era where they were coming up with some fun shit. So I wasn't as involved day to day with creative at that time. So it was something I'm sure that one of those two came up with.
Did you do any of their pre-tapes together?
I did a few, but not a whole lot because I was doing a lot of talent relations and kind of winding that up at the time.
So the creative is, as a reminder, this is early 2001 and Vince is quote unquote cheating on Linda. And, it's going to lead to some hurt feelings with Stephanie, of course. Stephanie is going to try to punish Trish and put her in matches with Jacqueline. And then that builds to Stephanie versus Trish at No Way Out 2001. Meltzer would say Stephanie pinned Trish in 8 minutes and 30 seconds. This match was a miracle. Vince set it up, telling Regal, you know what to do, but Regal had no clue what that meant. Stratus took all the real bumps. The moves they did, like clotheslines, DDTs, and power bombs, all looked decent. It at no point looked any worse than Chyna, and at some points may have been better. They did the requisite stuff with Trish's shorts being pulled off, showing her thong panties, but no shirts were pulled off. Regal came out and tripped referee Jimmy Corderas and put Stratus on top, and then put McMahon's leg on the ropes and informed the ref. Stratus was mad and slapped Regal. Regal gave her a neck breaker and left, allowing McMahon to get the pin. After the match, Vince said he wanted a tag match with he and Trish against Regal and Stephanie, 2.25 stars. I do love the creative of Vince telling Regal, you know what to do. But,
wink, wink.
But Regal not knowing what to do. So I'm going to make it like I'm helping one girl, but then immediately help her out of it. It was fun. Like, okay, I'll do something for both. Cause I don't know who he meant there, his daughter or his quote unquote love interest. Nice little twist there.
It really was. To me, I think it was a fun time, and it's kind of where, in many respects, the creative took a turn into a little more fun and having situations like this with a lot more story depth into it. And again, I go back and I credit guys like Gewurz and Blancha that were, doing a lot of the creative at that time.
Well, what's next is the more uncomfortable segment of our show today. In hindsight, probably not the best decision creatively. Didn't age well, but different time, as we like to say. It's the famous promo, or maybe infamous promo, where Vince McMahon is yelling at Trish to take her top off and bark like a dog. And of course, we're doing this, just to add context, Vince is the bad guy here. We want people to boo him. And that's a pretty surefire way to make that happen. In hindsight, maybe not the best idea. No,
and again, this was in character, Mr. McMahon, and you also have to remember over 20 years ago, you go back on it, doesn't age well at all.
No.
But you ever watch the show Succession on HBO?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay. Well, there's the scene where they're in the castle. And he has everybody, come on, go over there. Oh, wrong answer. Go over there and get down like a dog or whatever, and all that shit. He's
evil, and he's trying to.
He's evil, and he's manipulating and showing his power over everyone.
He wants to humiliate her.
And he wants to make her pay for whatever wrong that in his mind he perceived that she did as the character. So it was. I thought great storytelling. And again, in particular, that scene, it doesn't age well because it needs an awful lot of context around it for people to understand how did they get here. If you look at it all by itself, oh my God, that's terrible. When you look at it in context and you look at the end and you see the happy ending at the end, then you understand.
Meltzer would say it's a takeoff of an old wrestling angle where the heels make life hell for a face because they've got something on them, and the longer the better until the face finally rebels. I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, in a different way, you did stuff like this once upon a time with Virgil and the $1 Million Man, but the dynamic changes when it's a man and a woman. But still, Canada does not allow the segment to air on TV. Bob Costas eventually interviews Vince later and asks him about the segment in one of those more infamous Vince interviews on HBO. In hindsight, this was probably more trouble than it's worth, right?
I think in hindsight, you can look at it through whatever vision you want to look at it. At the time, it was a story, and it was a storyline with fictional characters. And that's what it was. And if you want to take it and try and analyze it and make it something more than that, then that's up to you, and that's your prerogative.
Talk to me a little bit about Trish when this is being put together. Does she have any objections, or is she in on the gag and knows, hey, it's a character, who gives a shit? Let's go be funny.
Yeah, Trish looked at it as an opportunity to be involved in a storyline and to be involved in a story with one of the top heels ever in the industry. So, yes, Trish looked at this as a great opportunity to be able to go out and show her acting chops and be a part of this mega story that she was a huge part of.
We get to WrestleMania, and Trish gets one of the biggest pops when she turns on Vince and slaps him in his match against Shane McMahon. Of course, Linda tops her pop just by awakening from this comatose state. And ta-da, she stands up, does the low blow. And man, even before she did that, just Linda waking up, so to speak, and standing up. What a pop. you know, it's easy in hindsight to look back and say, oh, they shouldn't have did this or they shouldn't have did that. But this big payoff here made it all worth it.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. When you take the story all the way to the end.
Yes.
And then you see how Trish was helping Linda and bringing Linda around and how they were both in on it because of the horrible things that Mr. McMahon, the character, had done to them. And to get that comeuppance in that moment, it was beautiful. And I always go back and guys want to hear, you're talking about a Road Warrior pop. Well, let's be real, folks. Let's talk about a Linda McMahon pop, because that was deafening. And that was one of those moments of holy shit, where you just get a smile on your face and go, yeah, they dug that one.
Really a pretty special moment. And we should just add context to this. In the span of a year, Trish has gone from managing Test and Albert to being part of Vince versus Shane at WrestleMania. Pretty big time rise for a first year person in the business.
Absolutely. And that just goes to the fortitude of Trish, fighting, getting better at every single turn, and being ready for whatever was thrown at her.
So I'm ready for what's next, and it's going to be teaming with Lita against Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson from WCW at Invasion in a double bra and panties match. Times were different, boys and girls.
They sure were, man. Good Lord.
She hurts her ankle, which puts her on the shelf until the fall when she returns at Survivor Series for the 6-pack Women's Challenge to win her first WWE Women's title. This is the reintroduction of the title after Chyna leaves. And what a way to reintroduce her into the fold. She comes back and wins the strap, man. That's awesome.
It was. And there was a groundswell. Trish had a hell of a following and the audience really liked her. So it was a way to bring her back. It was unfortunate, her injury, but it was a way to bring her back and bring her right back in on top.
We should also mention that she's going to start a feud with Jazz over the title and drop the belt to her before WrestleMania in her hometown of Toronto. She's going to take on Jazz and Lita in a 3-way, but she doesn't win the title. And I think a lot of people probably assumed she was going to win it back because you're in Toronto. But
why?
Well, I think people are looking for, hey, here's a baby face and she's over and we're in her hometown. I think a lot of fans bought tickets. Not a lot of fans. There were fans who bought tickets thinking, hey, Trisha's going to win back. She's our little hometown hero or whatever.
Those people in Toronto. What about the people worldwide, globally? What about the guy in Knoxville, Tennessee? What about the little girl in Germany? It's a global, it's a global brand that plays all over the world. And, wherever we are emanating from sometimes plays a big part, but I just don't think that, okay, well, we're in someone's hometown. Well, by God, they've got to win.
I agree. In hindsight, you should have had Sid beat Shawn at Rumble 97. I mean, why run a dome show in Texas and San Antonio for Shawn for him to win the belt back? Fuck that.
Because that's why it was done. It's a completely different story, Conrad. We didn't run Toronto because Trish was going to be in a fucking triple threat.
I like when you get fired up. So what you do is
has to get fired up. God damn it!
You have her win the hardcore title by pinning Crash Holly.
I apologize to those of you that I may have offended with that. I hate that. Let's make our language better on this show.
I'm fucking for it, really.
Okay, me too.
But I'll tell you this: you're gonna have to pick a side here: Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. I've never seen somebody drink them back to back like this. Did you run out of Diet Pepsi?
I got Diet Dr. Pepper up next, dog.
Was that the last Diet Pepsi, or are there more in the household?
Oh yeah,
there are more.
Yeah,
man, you're just switching midstream. That's right weird.
Next to the Diet Coke and the Diet Dr. Pepper.
This would be like if me and you went to the bar.
And the Diet Schweppes ginger ale.
Hypothetically, if you and I went down to the boot, I'm just going to keep talking. I don't fucking care. And you start ordering Miller Lite, and then you drink a Miller Lite, and then you say, now I'll have a Coors Light. And then the next one you said, now I'll have a Bud Light. What is this, a tasting menu of diet soda? What are you doing?
Whatever it takes.
To do what? Whatever it takes to do what?
quench my thirst and keep my vocal cords lubricated properly.
So the Diet Pepsi wasn't quenching your thirst.
Well, no, it was just first. It was refreshing, crisp.
But why was Diet Coke second?
Because it was over there.
So now it's based on location. See, you rich people who work for Vince McMahon, you have multiple refrigerators in your home. And so you just use the one that's nearest you.
No. This came from that one, but it was over there.
Okay, that's
I'm not like you. I don't have the goddamn refrigerators all over the place.
I don't even know.
How many refrigerators you got in that mansion? You got the 1, the 2, the 3, then 4 down, and then 5 by the west wing of the pool, 6 by the east wing of the pool, 7, the one right on the pool front door. You got 12 refrigerators in your house.
That's a lie.
7 ice makers.
I only have 11 refrigerators. You're lying on me again.
Okay. How many ice makers? They make the little pellet Sonic ice.
I only have 4.
Okay.
I have 4 ice
Upstairs.
makers. Nope.
What kind do you have downstairs?
I have the Sonic ice maker in the theater. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought. And out by the pool?
Regular nugget ice maker.
Okay. So
Scotsman makes that one.
All right.
I
don't even know the brands. I think I got a Frigidaire or something in there. I don't even know.
Can I keep going?
Okay.
Trish wins the hardcore title. She pins Crash Holly and then loses it to Stevie Richards after the brand extension puts her on Raw. She winds up defeating Jazz in a tag match to win the women's title. What's up with all these singles titles changing hands in tag matches?
Yeah, shit just happens. It became one of those deals that, well, we could do it, and then you overkill it, and then it goes away for a long time because you did too much of it. Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
She winds up dropping the belt to Molly Holly, and for whatever reason, it felt like they had tremendous chemistry together. We know Molly was a great performer, but what was it about her and Trish that just clicked?
Well, again, I think that I think Molly could have a great match with a broom, and that's not to say that Trish was a broom. I'm just saying that you put Molly in there with somebody that wants to go and that has the talent like Trish. They did have very, very good chemistry, and they had great matches together because they liked each other, and I think that their styles complemented one another, but it really helps the two individuals that you have in there. Two of the absolute best ever in Molly and Trish.
I'm just curious. Are you a broom?
I could be. I'd probably be more difficult to work with these days than a broom. Broom can at least take a bump. I ain't taking no bumps.
Stratus begins a feud with Victoria and also becomes an on-screen girlfriend of Jeff Hardy after he saves her from an attack from Victoria and Stevie Richards. And the Victoria feud peaks at the classic Survivor Series hardcore match. Here's the write-up from the Observer. Victoria beat Trish in a hardcore match to win the women's title in 7 minutes and 1 second. Lots of hard garbage can lid shots. They tied garbage cans to all 4 posts, allowing the two to get whipped into them. Stratus did some cane shots. Victoria got a bloody nose, apparently from being whipped into the steps. Lots of missed moves here, including Stratus doing one of the most messed up bulldog headlocks in pro wrestling history. Victoria pulled out a fire extinguisher and went to spray. The first time it didn't work. The second time it did. And then Victoria got the pin after a vertical suplex. 1.25 stars. I remember this match a lot better than Dave's review of it, though. What did you think?
Yeah, because it was good. Did it have a botched spot in it that was terrible? Absolutely. But overall, I thought that they went out there and had a hell of a match, told a good story. And look, to people who think, guess what? Sometimes you just don't know. That's all I got to say about that. Yeah, John Paul Shellnut here. My God, her services. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that right now.
The on-air relationship between her and Jeff ends when he's released, and we just move on like it never happened. She wins the women's title back at WrestleMania and then drops it back at Backlash to Jazz. And then Eric Bischoff sets up a match between himself and Trish, which is a no DQ. If Trish wins, she gets her championship rematch. And if he wins, she has to spend a night with him. Eric wins, but Linda McMahon cancels the stipulation. Boy, this is, I guess this is around the same time, because on Eric's watch, we had such creative as the hot lesbian action. Not to say it was his creative, but just saying it's what his character did. Did somebody in creative just think, boy, this fits Eric's persona, hot lesbian action. And hey, if I win, you have to spend the night with me. It's like he's a gigolo or something.
I'm just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, people know the part I'm playing. Gigolo, gigolo, pay for every dance, share each romance. Oh, what are they saying? There will come a day when I will have sleep. Anyway, I don't know all the words, but I like David Lee Roth's version of that best.
Cool. You gonna tell me about Eric Bischoff and trying to spend the night with Trish?
Well, who wouldn't? I mean,
this is the type of insight people are tuning in for. I really appreciate it.
I mean, goddamn, no. Yeah, Eric's character was one of a sleazy, entrepreneurial, take any chance and do anything for any reason other than, for ratings. And Eric was portrayed as a just dastardly sleazeball. And
you're saying he's not all those things? Cause I know him pretty well. And
yeah, I know him pretty well too. I think Eric's one of my, friends that I put on that one hand. I like Eric, and I think that Eric's a great guy, and I love his family as well.
You put him on your hand. What are you talking about?
Yeah, if you can have friends on one hand and you can count them off.
Why do they have to be on your hand?
Not that many people have real true friends. Okay, that throughout your life, through your ups, through your downs, through your middles, through your highs, through your lows, through your zigs and your zags. Okay, there aren't that many people that you can really go count on. And Eric's one of those people that you can count on. He's one of my good friends. That's what I say. He's on that hand, right there.
You just said you wanted to put him on your hand. I didn't know if y'all were doing like a ventriloquist act or what that was.
No, he's already there. I didn't have to put it in. He's already there.
He's on the hand right now.
Right. Can't you see him? I'm showing you the hand.
Okay. Make him talk. Make him talk.
Hey, you're on that hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's me and what a ragtag crew you got. Me, Eric Bischoff, John Paul Shellnut, Bill Gray, and Vince McMahon.
Yeah. I throw Scott Hay in there too.
Okay.
And then we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, Buddy Sullivan. Okay, maybe.
Well, how many fingers?
I gotta throw Buddy in there. Buddy's been through all of it for 40 plus years too. So yeah.
How many fingers are on this hand?
Okay, you're getting ready to go to the thumb.
Oh shit, I'm thumbed out.
Yeah, you're gonna be the thumb or the little finger on this hand.
But that one's useless. You can't even do anything with that one.
But it's still a hand.
Technically. This is going well. I know when we're creating podcast gold.
Well, you're in a shitty mood.
No, it's not. I'm doing great. Let's talk about how Trish and Lita are now friends, and they're going to start dating Jericho and Christian. And this is where Stratus and Jericho are into each other.
Hold on. Shit. Fuck me. Fuck.
So as we were saying, Trish and Lita are now friends, and they're going to start dating Jericho and Christian. Stratus and Jericho are kind of digging each other, and it somehow leads to Armageddon, which has Trish and Lita versus Jericho and Christian. And wouldn't you know it, the guys win. Jericho and Christian's friendship winds up ending, and of course it leads to WrestleMania 20 with Jericho versus Christian. And of course we know Trish is going to turn on Jericho after the match and make out with Christian on stage. What a heel. I got to think I like Trish better as a heel than I did as a baby face, even though I think most fans probably most fondly remember her as a baby. Did you have a preference?
I think that it was it was a push for Trish to be a heel because she's kind of naturally a babyface in real life, and I think she enjoys being a babyface more.
What do you think of the creative here? It feels like more often than not in this era, when it comes to the ladies, there is some relationship layer, like they're dating this guy or that guy, or there's a romantic interest with this person or that person. Why was that like a crutch for creative at that time, do you think? Is it just because
why is it a crutch to have relationships? People have relationships in real life, and it's storytelling, and it's much easier to tell a story if you're in a relationship that people can relate to. That's just storytelling, not a crutch.
You don't have to get hot about it.
Well, I do get hot about it. It's because you're inferring that it's a cheap way to go. And
it
is. It is not.
It is.
So in drama, to have a fucking relationship, that's a cheap way to go. Why does someone love someone? Why do men and women like each other? Why do people have affection towards other people? Oh, that's a crutch for someone to like someone.
You feel better?
Heels and baby faces. Oh, that's a crutch.
I'm just saying it exists at a higher percentage of the female creative than it does for the male. I don't know why you can't see that. It's probably because there's dancing now. What are you talking about? Tangos. Drink your fucking Diet Coke and come up with a little witty thing to shit on me for, and let's move on.
So there were no men in that relationship? That's awful sexist. You have relationships. There are relationships. Men and women can have relationships. Men and men can have relationships. Women and women can have relationships. They're relationships. That's what they are.
How many times do you think
they're in real life every day? You are in a relationship.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm in a marriage.
That's a relationship, Pally.
Is it?
Yep.
Are you
Your mom and dad are in a relationship.
Not again. Not on purpose. Hey,
was it by accident?
Tyson Tomko was put with Christian and Trish. What's the thinking there? I think the old school wrestling term is they need a heater. How and why does someone quote unquote need a heater? How do you as creative decide, okay, they need somebody? What are they missing? Is it just size? Is it height? Is it a way to bring someone new along, introduce a new person, get them more on screen? What's the deciding factor for how you bring in a new person like this as a quote unquote heater?
We didn't bring him in as a heater. We brought him in as a talent that we were looking, that we felt had a lot of potential. Tomko had a great look and had potential. The idea was to put him with people, in particular with Christian, that could teach him to work and teach him the nuances of the business and the psychology of the business by being around Christian all the time, in his corner, working with him and learning all the time. And that was the reason that Tomko was put with Christian.
Trish is going to win the women's title for the 5th time at Bad Blood, but unfortunately she breaks her hand afterwards and she doesn't even have the title stripped. Was it because it would screw up a long-term storyline or what's the thinking there?
Well, it was a different day and age, and a broken hand wasn't going to stop her from, wasn't going to be out for that long. And why strip her of the title if you could still do things around it?
Really big moment happens here. Trish and Lita are going to main event Monday Night Raw on December 6th. The women's championship is on the line, but this is a big moment. The women have never main evented in singles action like this before, a Monday Night Raw, which is very much the flagship show, not just for WWE, but all of professional wrestling at this point. Lita's going to get the win. One of the biggest moments, maybe in women's wrestling history at that point, maybe the biggest. And Lita and Trish are booked against each other at New Year's Revolution, where Lita blows out her knee and Trish pins her to end the match quickly. This is just the worst timing ever. I mean, it feels like after that big main event, the women are ready to reach new heights, and then the injury bug bites you at the worst possible time.
Sadness, man. Sadness. because I think that at that time, two of the hottest talent that we had on the roster were Lita and Trish, that were getting the best reaction, and the audience was really into them. So it was just horrible timing, and you feel bad for the talent. You feel bad for everything going into it because, you're looking at the future, and now you take 50% of that attraction away, and it hurts.
Chat me up. If you had it, thinking back, WrestleMania was supposed to be a rematch, Lita and Trish for the belt, right?
As best I can remember.
So since Lita is injured, the pivot is to make Trish jealous over Christy Hemi's Playboy spread and her exposure from it. And boy, this didn't age well. Trish is going to attack her and spray paint the word slut across her back. My goodness. This is regrettable creative, but hey, it made for TV at the time, and different time and place. But still, you would think after that attack and, that word being spray painted, surely she's going to win. But Trish beats her again at WrestleMania.
Because it was the only logical thing to do.
Explain.
Trish was better. Trish was more popular, and Trish had the chops to be able to maintain it. And quite frankly, Christy just didn't at that time. There was no way that she would have been able to carry that.
So, sometimes people beat your ass and spray paint you, and then they get away with it and beat you again.
It happens in real life, Conrad.
It does.
Sometimes the bad guy wins.
It's true.
That's right.
So, Lita's, husband, Kane, attacks Trish, which leads to Viscera saving Trish from him. What a combo this is. Trish is going to get hurt, and the storyline excuse is it's from Viscera splashing Trish after she insulted him. In reality, she's got a herniated disc injury. She's going to be out for 4 months, but the women's title never gets stripped from her. At this point, is the female side of the in-ring competitor roster so thin that you really just don't have anywhere else to go with it. So even though she can't wrestle, just keep the belt on her.
Well, we didn't have the kind of depth,
right,
on the women's side. So it just, it's like, okay, you can strip her of the championship, but then what do you have? And unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of workers and the kind of depth and the athletes that came along later.
Trish is going to return for a short feud with Melina before we finally meet Mickie James. Who came up with this idea of the whole Trish and Mickie saga?
I don't really remember. I remember I pitched it to Mickie initially, but I don't remember who came up with it specifically. It was, by that time, the creative team had grown a little bit, and there was a lot of pitching around tables and things like that. But I thought that it was a hell of an idea and one that was logical. It was kind of off of the, Roommates. Was that the name of the movie? Single White Female.
That's interesting.
Kind of off of that.
Yeah, that's the creative. They go, just to recap, they go from friends with overtones of a possible relationship to Mickie eventually making a move on Trish the day after Christmas, December 26th on Raw. And it's a kiss under the mistletoe. This is pretty risque in this era.
Yeah, it was, but it was looking at, real life, and this stuff happens in real life all the time.
Trish is going to ask for space. Mickey's going to give it to her, but of course she's really offended. So she's going to attack her. And now we've got to build to WrestleMania, and Mickey's going to end Trish's pretty historic 448-day reign to become the new women's champion. And boy, there's a controversial moment in the match that if you know, I think it's been scrubbed from all the replays and the network, but I just imagine that Mickey got a talking to when she came through the curtain after that WrestleMania match.
Yeah, pretty crass and just totally inappropriate.
It is one of the better women's title matches up to that point, though. As far as
it was excellent. I thought Mickey's excellent.
And I just feel like, don't get me wrong, I get that she was doing character work and she was in the mode. And I think you and I are both big fans of Mickie James as a wrestler, as a person, et cetera, et cetera. I've been fortunate enough to meet her a few times and she's great. But in that moment, she's working the character and doing her thing. But I feel like that moment sort of overshadowed the rest of the match, and people don't talk about how good the match was now as a result, right?
Yeah, because unfortunately people remember the one
shock and awe factor.
Yeah.
More so than the actual match.
Yes, exactly.
And you know, it's regrettable. I'm sure in hindsight, nobody would have done it, but, I mean, you were looking for attention. You got it. Not you, but Mickey was, but I just think, man, go watch the match without it. It's a great match. And, yeah, they even have a rematch at Backlash. And unfortunately, Trish is going to legitimately dislocate her shoulder and she's going to be out for 6 weeks as far as in-ring competition, but she doesn't come off of TV because she's ratings, you know, and she wants to keep working. She wants to keep on the road and making these payoffs and paydays, but the in-ring stuff, it starts to feel like, I'm not going to say she's injury prone, but I am saying the injury bug has bit her here, and it feels like it starts to become a more common thing. And there's probably only so much wear and tear you can put on your body like this before it does start to break down. Were you guys starting to wonder, you know, was she a long hauler or not?
Well, no, because here's the difference. I think there are times when people would get injuries and then they would milk those injuries to stay away. Injuries never slowed Trish down. She wanted to be at every TV. She still wanted to be a part of everything and fought to do that. So to that, you know, you go, okay, she's injured, but man, she's still here every week. She's still fighting, wanting to be involved and doing everything that she can do physically to be a part of the story. So I applaud that.
I want to mention she's put into an on-screen camera romance with Carlito. What's the thinking here? Did you just think, hey, Carlito needs a little something extra and Trish can get the job done?
No, the thinking was that every day on the road that Carlito would oftentimes go off with some of the women and go shopping.
Right.
and he would go to the malls and he would go shopping with a lot of our female talent. And Carlito had a great rapport with them. And I think he had a pretty good rapport with Trish, and there was chemistry there. There was just chemistry there that you could feel and you could see. So it just kind of made sense. Well, let's try this. It'll help Carlito and give Trish something to do as well.
Out of nowhere, there starts to be speculation that Trish is going to work towards retirement. Did the injuries just start to get to her? Had wrestling run its course? Had she had her fill, or was it just time to go be a real person? You know, let's get married. Let's be a mom. Let's do the family thing. Let's try new things. I mean, she grew up loving wrestling, but it does feel like she started to rack up the injuries. And I don't know. I think I would probably be wondering, man, is it time to move on?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of a combination of all of the above, and the realization, you know, from Trish, it's like, wow, I've had these injuries. This stuff has happened to me. I want to have kids. I want to have a family. I want to do other things. And it came to the time that when you look back on her career, she had done an awful lot. She came in, she had a good run on top. She had a good time and a good career, and I think was a very positive contributor to the women's side, without a doubt. And Trish, just from a backstage and locker room, to me, was a very positive influence as well. Just always had a smile on her face, always in a good mood. It's like, man, a joy to work with. So to that, yeah, man, you kind of hate to see her go. But at the same time, I think that she's looking at the rest of her life Which kudos to her and good for her realizing that and being able to walk away at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it's, what's the old Mr. Perfect thing? Get in, get over, get out.
Exactly.
You want to leave on your terms. And I think that's so cool. I mean, even in sports, you know, sometimes we sit around and we say, man, what could have been with Barry Sanders or whatever. But when you get to walk away on your own, that's pretty cool. You're not taken out on a stretcher. You know, you're not being forced out the door saying, we're not going to renew your contract. You get to have your fun, make a bunch of money, see the world, have some really cool experiences, and then say, I'm ready for the next chapter.
And I think that she looks back on her career here extremely fondly, and you know, still longs for the relationships that she made here and the career that she made here.
I realized that it was a long time ago, but when you first hear the news, do you think Vince even has a tinge of, God damn it, we've put all this time and money in this character and now she's gone? Or does the real life Vince take over and he's happy for the real life Trish? Like, good for her, man.
Yeah, I think he was happy. You know, first of all, there is always going to be that, damn it, I wish, you know, we still had her for a few more years, but it is also, hey, good for her. Best of luck to her. And next.
Yeah. Because she's done. He's not done. The beat goes on.
Yeah. He ain't never going to be done.
Never. She finishes up at Unforgiven in her hometown of Toronto. I don't know why. I mean, nobody cares about hometowns. What about the little girl in India? And defeats Lita by the sharpshooter to regain the women's title. Wait a minute.
Girl in Huntsville.
What the fuck? Why'd y'all put the belt on her? Cause she's in her fucking goofy ass hometown. This is fucking stupid. This is a global brand.
You got to, because she's in her hometown of Toronto.
I mean, I don't did you book the fucking building to have her win the goddamn belt on her return? Is that what you did?
Yes. That's why we booked that building.
It's the seventh.
Called all of her friends.
The seventh.
Family and all of Toronto.
It's the seventh and final time she's going to be the champ. She gets a very classy goodbye from the crowd and the company. Pretty fitting into a nice little 6-year run here for Trish Stratus, at least in my point of view. I mean, comes in as a valet, first big bump, a power bomb through a table from Bubba Ray. And before you know it, man, she's having really great matches at WrestleMania, big moments with the McMahons. She had a cool run. And in hindsight, it feels like it was longer than 6 years, but I think people think that about a lot of the top acts from the WWE over the years, whether it's a guy like The Rock or a guy like Stone Cold. They're not usually these 20-year careers. I mean, The Undertaker is one of those exceptions, and Randy Orton is one of those exceptions. But a lot of those top tier talent, man, it's a relatively short amount of time, but those memories, they make such an impression. It feels like a lot longer.
Yeah, it sure does, man. And even when I'm sitting here looking at it, in my head, it was a lot, probably twice that long.
Yeah. Of course, life goes on. She gets married in 2006 to a fine gentleman named Ron. And you're gone with the company when Trish is inducted into the Hall of Fame, but obviously you saw it and you knew she deserved to be there. But she's a legit pioneer for the company, don't you think? I mean, she's one of the folks who helped move the way the women's presentation was from being just bra and panty matches. Don't get me wrong. She was in her fair share of those, but hey, now we're putting the women's belt in the main event on Raw. That's a cool moment that people will talk about for a long, long time.
Yes. I think that Trish, was one of those pioneers, and there were a few of them in there that helped get us to a place where, we are today. And to that, I applaud her wholeheartedly. At the same time, Trish was also an overall talent that understood that, hey, we're entertainment and we're going to go out and have fun, and we're going to go out and play parts. And this is what we do to entertain our audience. So all the way around, Trish was a well-rounded performer.
One of the greats for sure. She's been back for a ton of appearances and one-offs, including being in the first Women's Royal Rumble. She came back for a match against Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam. It's got to be pretty cool for you. here after all these years, you're back, and so is Trish.
Yes, it really was. And through the years, every once in a while, I'd run into Trish at a convention or something like that. It was always just so great to see her again, because it was the same smile, it was the same greeting, and she's just such a positive person. So having her come back and everything, it was a lot of fun to have that nostalgia. And that SummerSlam was where? Wasn't that in Toronto?
Yeah, it's almost like y'all booked the building just for her to be. If you could sum up Trish's career and impact on the business, how would you do that?
Positive.
Yeah.
In one word, I would say positive. From the human being to what she did for the women's division and for what she did for herself. Trish to me is the epitome of hard work and passion. That a lot of people saw her as oh, hey man, she's just another pretty face.
Yeah.
That is going to get by on that. And Trish was, I don't think Trish even sees herself as a pretty face. I think that Trish kind of sees herself as who she is, just a strong person that is passionate about what she does, everything that she does, whether it's wrestling and her yoga and her family and all the way down. Positive, and she made a lot of great contributions to the company.
Let's do some fan questions. We got a ton. There's no way we can get to all of them. Joe Dangerously wants to know, man or woman, was there ever a wrestler that you've seen grow more as a performer than Trish?
Trish is one of those, man, if not in the top 5, top 1 or 2. Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating when you think about that too, because there's such a great list of guys who have evolved over the years, but I kind of agree. Trish has got to be near the top. I mean, when you first see her, you have a preconceived notion and you think, well, she's just going to be a valet. And I'm not going to name any other names, but there were a lot of other women who were really literally just a pretty face, and that's what they were there for. And man, she dug in and learned her craft and went from being not so great to holy shit, this is a really good match. And
yeah, and that's important to bring up. Like you said, not so great. Trish was not good when she first started.
No, she evolved. She got better.
Yeah. But she got great.
Yes.
And that's the thing about it, is you look at her from where she started, it was like, okay, man, she's clueless. She doesn't know what to do here. She doesn't know what to do there. But she was coachable, and she was able to apply everything that she was told, practically.
And her perseverance, really. I mean, I remember sometimes she would come out with this huge grin, but dude, she'd be covered in bruises where she had been beat up in some matches, and she's still grinning, doing her thing. And that was not the era where you expected that. I mean, usually the girls look like the ladies look like they were ready for a photo shoot. And here's Trish. Yeah, she looks great, and she's got her gear like she likes it and all that jazz. But she's beat up, and she's still slinging that match around like nobody's business. Drew Landry wants to know, was Trish and Charlotte, the more recent version, of course, the women's version of Hogan Rock? I never really thought about that, but they're both in Canada. It's sort of the best of what was and maybe the best of what is. I could see that comparison. I never thought of it, but interesting question from Drew.
Yeah, I could see that comparison as well.
Michael McClanahan says, what was your favorite storyline of Trish's to produce and why?
I think, probably the stuff, and even though I didn't get to produce as much of it, what I did get to work on was the whole triangle with Stephanie and Hunter and Trish. That was a lot of fun, just coming up with some of those ideas and being able to work with them was fun.
Who primarily had their fingerprints on that?
That was probably, I think that was probably Vince and Brian Gewirtz in a lot of respects. And I had, a little bit here and there, but not that much other than, hey, what if we did this?
Right.
So, yeah.
Speaking of hey, what ifs, Greg wants to know, did someone specifically push to have Trish and Lita main event that Raw?
I think they deserved it. I think that their work and the story is what pushed to make that happen. It was when you look at it, well, this is interesting, and never done it. Let's try it. Let's see how it does. So that's them. that's on the talent at that point, because they made it undeniable.
Francis says, whose idea was it to have the NFL promo with Trish and Shelton? Also, was she really naked in that promo? You don't have to answer that, but I don't remember this NFL promo with Trish
I don't
and
either.
Shelton.
I'm sorry.
I gotta throw that in my Google machine. No, wait, maybe not. Lupe Martinez says, I always felt that Trish versus Lita could have main evented a pay-per-view. Was that ever brought up or considered? Yeah, they did get a Raw. What about a pay-per-view?
Yeah, I think that more than anything, injuries and timing.
Yeah. Hot Rod says, what was Trish's reaction backstage after the now infamous Raw tag match from '02 with her and Bradshaw versus Jackie Gata and Christopher Nowinski? This is regarded as being, if you recall, maybe one of the bigger stinkers from the era.
Oh, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Lindsay says, does anyone ever feel like she's the one that got away? She wasn't a lifer and wasn't really around for a terribly long time, but she was one of the greatest. Do you think you could have done more to get her to stay full time?
Well, to answer that, no, I don't think that we could have done anything to get her to stay full time at that point in time. And as you say, would we have loved to have had her longer? Absolutely. Does it feel like she was here a lot longer? Absolutely. You know, as I said to you, it felt like, well, Trish was here 12, 15 years, wasn't she? 6, and made a hell of an impact in that time. So kudos to her for being able to get out on her terms and her timing. Good for her. But had she stayed full time, I think that we definitely would have used her and she would have been on top and probably been the catalyst even more so into the women's revolution as it was.
Michael says, in your mind, where does Trish sit amongst all women's wrestlers of all time? And same question for all time Canadian talent.
You know, that's a tough question because you're looking at the pioneers like Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young, and then you look at people like Wendy Richter, who was one that brought it, you know, mainstream with Cyndi Lauper, and she was the choice to be along with Cyndi Lauper for that ride. Sensational Sherry is at the top of that list just for being Sherry. As far as in-ring talent and overall, you have to keep those other women in that conversation because they were the pioneers. And there have been a lot of greats. And I think that for the time that Trish was in the business, and when you apply that in her impact in the business, yeah, she'd definitely be in the top 10 of greatest of all time.
And when it comes to great Canadian female wrestlers, she's got to be top 3 with Natty and Gail Kim, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think, to me, just my opinion, those are the top 3 greatest female Canadian wrestlers, right?
I don't think that Natty's Canadian.
Oh, okay. Well, I was counting it. Maybe I'm counting kayfabe.
Well, her mother's Canadian, but she was born in the U.S.
Okay. So it's her and Gail Kim?
Wasn't she?
I don't know. Fuck, you're the expert.
I don't know. Fuck.
Lenny, I mean, she's a goddamn heart. All right. Will you just let me have it? They're all from fucking Canada.
Rhino's, the Rhino's the kid.
Hey.
Yeah, she's a scrapper. Yeah, she's a dame and all, but yeah. He didn't have a boy. Yeah, that's fucking Rhino. Yeah, Nat. Yeah, that's her name. Yeah, my fucking granddaughter. Yeah.
I love that you, instead of going into him calling for Jim, now he's calling for Natty, and you referred to her as a dame because you think that's the old timey word he would have used for ladies.
Probably.
It's tremendous. That was good. That's the best thing you've done on this whole show.
Oh, well, at least I'm alive.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, it beats the alternative.
This is true.
Lenny Bakken says, did Trish have any backstage heat to Bruce's recollection, or was she always well liked and respected by everyone?
I'm not answering any more questions from Lenny Bakken.
Lenny Bakken hooks you up and takes care of your millions and millions of dollars. You ought to at least answer his damn question.
I know, but I do on text all the time.
What, will you just answer this one for the show?
Why didn't he call me offline and ask me this?
Because we're trying to help the show, which is more than you're doing.
That's not true.
I mean, at least you showed up this time.
Well, yeah. Even though you were late. Did Trish have any backstage heat? I think that Trish did have backstage heat. I think there was a little jealousy with Trish coming in.
Some of the other women, you mean, or some of the guys that, hey, she's taking
Actually,
TV?
both.
Yeah.
You know, on both sides, because she came in from conceivably outside, and now all of a sudden she's put into storylines and all these things. Well, who'd she ever beat? She did, and that's, again, another reason that when you look at Trish and you look at everything she did, she fought through all that. She fought through it and became, one with everybody in the business. So all that much more respect to her and kudos to her for that.
Let's talk, before I let you go, just about some of your favorite moments or memories working with Trish. Of course, you usually let me steer the ship, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I'm sure you've got a fun Trish story up your sleeve, right?
I think that the most fun that I had was the whole Trish and Mickie James scenario, because it was fun, and without giving too much backstory, if you've ever had a stalker.
Well, that's a random sentence.
Okay. Well, have you ever had a random stalker there, Connie? Okay. So anyway, I won't make you answer that because I already know the answer.
Yeah.
Then you can think of those moments where your heart just kind of goes into your stomach and you're like, oh no, man. And so that was fun to build. And Mickie and Trish were so into it and looking at it from all different angles that was a shitload of fun, man. And Trish bringing her dad around back in the day and just look, I think that if you were to build a roster of talent that you really enjoy being around and that are fun, passionate, and share the same ideals that you do and have an open mind, Trish is one of those that's kind of at the top of the list.
Yeah, hard to argue. I'm a big fan of all that she did. All we've ever heard is great complimentary things. It's pretty rare that you run across somebody who seems to be so universally loved in professional wrestling, but it does feel like that's where Trish is right now. Where we are right now is the end of the show. But before we wrap up, I do want to ask, was there ever any consideration to pairing her on screen with a quote unquote top guy? You know, a Steve Austin, a Rock, a John Cena, something like that.
Well, I mean, she was paired with Vince and she was paired with Hunter. So, I mean, they don't get more top than that. For a long term, I think the money was more in Trish being a competitor.
Yeah.
And doing what she did.
Well, what she did is make wrestling history. And we hope you guys have enjoyed our, I guess this is the culmination of maybe 4 or 5 times she's been scheduled on the show, but something happened and we weren't able to record, but it's finally happened. And next week it's finally going to happen. We're going to let you be in the hot seat. Ask Bruce anything. It's coming up next week. If you'd like to ask Bruce a question, find us on social media at Prichard Show. That's where you can find us on Twitter. We also want to mention that, we've got a YouTube channel, which is the best possible way to introduce your friends who are wrestling fans to our show. It's youtube.com/something to wrestle. Next week, it's Ask Bruce Anything. If you've got a question, one more time, mention it on Twitter at Prichard Show. Farouk will be our show on August 13th, and we'll talk about SummerSlam 2001 on August 20th. And we'll wrap up the month of August on August 27th when we talk about all things SummerSlam 2006. It's going to be a fun August here at Something to Wrestle, dude.
I'm looking forward to it.
Real quick, before we get out of here, today's my mom's birthday. Do you want to sing happy birthday to my mom?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Deborah. Remember that night 40 years ago?
When you had me. Hey, we couldn't record last week because you had some emergencies. One of which was a situation with the second runner up for the Something to Wrestle dog contest that we had.
It is the official Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard dog, Dodger Prichard.
And I just wanted to briefly get an update, see how things were looking for Roger Dodger.
Well, the Dodge man is hanging in there, and he's old like me, and he's got a pretty bad heart, worse than mine. But you know what? He's hanging in there, and we're doing all that we can to make sure that he's happy, comfortable, and doing all right. And this is a horrible, funny story to tell you. Okay, so my wife's so my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, is also very sick. My wife had to go to Texas to be by her side while she had some procedures, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with her. And at the same time, my dog, I'm home here with my daughter alone, and the dog is having a really, 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 really bad night. Didn't sleep. I'm up with him, had to take him to the emergency vet, and then the regular vet, and then to the heart doctor vet. And at the same time, it's the same day that my wife is in Texas with her mom, and she's going through some procedures with her heart that they then found out it was her liver. She was anyway from place to place. And so I hadn't slept. And at this point, like 2.5, 3 days maybe. And I'm talking to my wife, and I'm trying to find out, how everything went with her mom. And we're talking, going on. And at some point I just stopped and I said, "Are we talking about your mom or the dog right now?" Because they have the exact same shit going on with them.
Are you still married?
I am.
But probably just barely.
But it gets confusing. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say, but anyway.
I got to tell you,
the best puppy in the world.
When we were supposed to record last week, Dave Green, who helps us sell some commercials on our show, he was with us in town. We did some brainstorming on some projects we got coming up. And I was laying out exactly what was going on. And I shared that story you told me about. He had some fluid around his heart. He had some fluid around his lungs. And his liver's all messed up. And Dave Green, being ever the salesman, said that digestive system's perfect thanks to solid gold, though, isn't it?
Okay.
About the
I don't even know if they're a sponsor this week.
They are.
That's one of the things for the bone marrow thing that is helping him.
It just,
I don't know, we shouldn't make claims. I'm just telling you from the vet standpoint and from his standpoint. Yeah. Thank God.
I know it was.
Send me more shit.
Oh, what an endorsement from this dog is fucking tore up head to tail, buddy. All his digestive shit is perfect.
Yeah.
I know
maybe I should send some to my mother-in-law.
Okay. All right. On that, you're going to get divorced. You're going to fuck around and get divorced. You think you got problems now. You wait till you got heat at the office and at home.
She's coming up here next week.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. You're not saying Stephanie Prichard, your lovely wife of many, many years, is coming home. You're saying your mother-in-law?
She's bringing someone with her.
Wait a minute. Your mother-in-law's moving into your house?
No.
She's going to forward her mail and live there?
Nope.
And my cousin Vinny's going to cook her breakfast every day?
No.
Have you you moved to Connecticut and started a hostel?
If you know what, it feels like it right now, quite frankly, but yeah.
Here's a pro tip. You still have your room here, The brother,
I heard it got redone.
It didn't. Morgan did a dusty finish.
Oh.
So she's going to finish her senior year in Charlotte. So the Brother Love Suite is available.
Okay. Well, you never know. You may come home from work and go, who ate all my special popcorn?
Well,
why are there wings and
turkey
breast in here? And why in the hell is there Diet Pepsi in the fridge?
Next to the Diet Coke.
Right next to it.
You got to pick a side. Are you drinking both because you're trying to keep sponsorship opportunities alive?
Yeah, I keep everything open. I drink Nestle Pure Life. I drink Fiji. I'll drink Smart, whatever. I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning.
So you're gonna try to convince.
I want to be free.
So now that your mother-in-law is gonna live with you, when you make her, when you have Vinny make her a plate of food, since he lives there too now, you're gonna have him dump.
He's got a restaurant.
You're gonna have him dump a little bit of that, maybe a capful, that human grade bone broth for dogs.
You know it. Gotta keep her hips moving and keep her digestive system flowing.
Gonna keep her get her fixed right up.
You know,
boys and girls, I don't know what we did, but I hope it was entertaining for you. It was for me. I love that Bruce is now in Connecticut hell with he moved up there with 4 of them, and now there's 32 people living in the house. So,
and I only know a couple of them.
Stay tuned for next week. You can ask Bruce anything like, I don't know, what's it like to live with his mother-in-law? Who is Vinny and why is he squatting at the house now? Maybe what Kane's up to.
His is Charlie.
Charlie?
Yeah, she's with him down in they're down in the river right now.
Charlie is his boyfriend? Girlfriend?
No. His blue-haired girlfriend.
I'm not judging. I'm just asking. And by the way, why does Why does it have to be blue hair? Are you trying to show off?
No, she's got blue hair sometimes.
I'm colorblind though, and I feel like that's showing off. It would be like if you lost a hand and I'm over here waving all the time. That wouldn't be nice.
What?
See?
No, can't see.
Can you see a fun way to end this show? Cause we're like in a shtick coma right now. We're in a vortex.
Spend my days working hard on the go with the hands on the clock. Keep spinning too slow, 'cause I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
Have you listened to any
You know, my baby's got me wrapped around her little finger, and you know that I will walk through.
Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com.
Hell and back to be with her, 'cause I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
Have you listened to any Jeff Jarrett podcasts yet?
I have not. Come on. What the fuck?
You can listen to him on the ride to work.
Okay, I will give you. I will talk about things going on right now for just this quick 30 seconds. I produced a show recently that was emanating from 2 different places, so I'm trying to watch the production of one on one monitor and the production of another on the other monitor. I haven't even seen that show in its entirety yet. So what does
that have to do with you?
I lived Jeff's podcast.
You like Jeff though, and by the way, when you were naming friends earlier, you didn't put him on your hand.
Well, yeah, he's not on the hand.
Oh, wait, you just did a ventriloquist thing. I saw your lips move, but I didn't hear what you said.
I said I love Jeff.
Oh, I don't know about that. He ain't on the hand. Is JR on the hand?
Did I mention JR?
Is Shivani on the hand?
Did I mention him?
Is Silva on the hand?
No.
Is Matt Coon on the hand?
Silva's not even on the body.
What about Cassio? Is Cassio on the hand?
I like Cassio.
Does he get a toe or something?
No.
Okay. I guess
I like them all. I mean, Yeah, not Coon, but
Nobody likes him. Did you know that Silva shit on my floor?
tell me about this. How did he shit on your floor?
I guess out of his
Did
butt.
he just miss or what?
That's what I don't understand. You see, both Cassio and Silva asked if they could go swimming in my pool while I was out of town over the 4th of July.
Is that not just weird?
Well, so I believe Cassio came on the 4th and he left his pineapple trunks out by the pool, which definitely means he's a swinger. And there was a pizza box for a cauliflower pizza, which had to be
That's
Judy's
Cassio.
because she's gluten-free. And then when we came home, the Silvas came the next day, the 5th. And when we came home on like the 11th, someone had taken a shit 6 inches shy of the toilet on the floor.
Like a whole.
Like a diarrhea shit. And they just left it.
That sounds like a Silva.
So that's what I said. But here's the thing. I assume for it to come out of Silva, it's got to be a log, son. Well, this was not. So,
No, man. I could see him having the runs, the squirts. Yeah.
So of all the people you could
Do you have
think,
cameras in there?
of course, not in the bathroom.
Yeah, look. Well, you should invest.
You want me to watch you take a shit?
Not me. Did he take a shit on the floor in my bathroom?
He took a shit on the floor in Flair's bathroom.
Who cares?
Well, that's the one right off the pool.
Yeah, but I don't. I just go over the cliff.
But
I do it in the planter.
Here's the spoiler, though. What do all of the toilets downstairs have?
A butt washer.
Why would you not just use that? It would do it all for you. I got to get new friends. Hashtag Conrad needs a new friend. I'm going to be taking applications soon, but me and Shivani, we're trying to get to the bottom of it.
Well, you have to have proof that they're potty trained or bidet trained.
So listen, some of my friends, they have to show their vaccination papers before they come over. Am I going to have to get like a letter from their mom? Like when you would go on a field trip when you were in 3rd grade?
Yeah, no, I would just ban Silva indefinitely.
I could do that.
Yeah, that makes most sense to me.
But you don't think it was?
I mean,
Cassio.
I go in the toilet and then I sit there and let it wash my butt for about 45 minutes.
Oh, I know. You're a 45-minute shitter.
My daughter's waving goodbye to me. She's leaving me. She's yes. I'm doing a podcast right now, Amber.
Tell her to bring Vinny over. I want to see Vinny.
Hi, Conrad.
Hey, show me your
I dyed my hair pink.
Pink hair.
I'm
Isn't it cute?
I'm colorblind. Where's Vinny?
Yeah, we're talking about Vinny on the show, so
A lot.
be gone.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Good things?
Yeah. Oh, of course, Amber. I haven't mentioned Sunset Grill once either, though.
Oh god. Okay.
Okay, do you have the good animals in here? Okay, good.
Now the door locked up. We're leaving this door open and that door open.
Okay, he's fine. Leave him here. Dodger stay.
See, Amber's so nice to me.
She's nice to me too.
Does she know about Silva shitting on my floor yet?
No, I'll tell her.
You should tell her.
I'll tell her. Yeah. So so you'll need some kind of verification, and you also need take a deposit too.
Here's what Shivani said. Shivani said I should line up everybody who was here that weekend, have them all take a shit on the floor, and then see which shit most resembles the original shit. And then we'll get to the bottom of #whodungit.
Okay.
I don't like that plan. There shouldn't be more. We don't need additional shits on the floor.
Well, then just have them do it outside.
Outside where?
The driveway.
At your
driveway.
No.
So you can wash it away down the hill.
Do you know how annoyed Clint from Hershey would be if he came over here and there were 6 human shits?
Oh my God. Well, I know how annoyed you'd be because you'd have to take 3 of your damn golf carts to get to the end of the driveway. But,
why are you like that?
I'm talking about the south driveway, the one that goes downhill.
I don't even have a golf cart here anymore.
Oh my God. How do you survive? Where are the golf carts?
I took them to the lake house.
Of course. A lot more land to cover down there, huh?
Yeah, you got to be hauling those drinks back and forth. That's a long way.
Yeah, fuck that.
No.
But, all right.
We're still talking. I mean, do you got anything to contribute about professional wrestling?
No, I don't do professional wrestling.
Oh, I'm sorry. You do sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you about the summer of Cena?
Very.
If you have been living under a rock, John Cena is back He was on Monday Night Raw. He was on SmackDown, and he's even making live events. So this could be one of the swan songs for Mr. Cena. So if you or your kids are itching to see him, make it happen this summer, Daddy, because it's the summer of Cena.
And it's the end of us.
This is our last episode this week.
Yes.
We'll be back next week right here on Something to Wrestle With. Bruce Prichard.
Rock on.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.